Our first story, Ghana's total earnings from non-traditional exports fell marginally by 1.84% from $2.89 billion in 2019 to $2.84 billion last year. Now, that's according to figures from the Ghana Export Promotion Authority. The slight decline in earnings was as a result of the impact of COVID on global supply chains. However, products from processed and semi-processed subsectors, including iron, palm oil and natural rubber sheets, recorded major increases in exports during the period. Meanwhile, the Chief Executive of the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, Dr. Efua-Asare, is optimistic of a swift return in performance next year. She says there will not be a review of the $29 billion estimate by 2029.
For the nets is quite ambitious. And when the team made up of about 100 organizations sat down to put this whole thing together, there was a lot of research before we came out with that figure. So it wasn't from anybody's imagination, but it was quite ambitious, and we thought that yes, we could do it. We are not. I don't think the ministry is going to review it downwards or review it upwards, because it was already an ambitious target anyway. We are going to work hard and keep on doing what we are doing and do the interventions. We know that we will recover, just as we did put measures in place to the extent that the dip wasn't so bad. We think that we will keep on working hard to increase. Now everybody is digitizing. So we are looking at different ways of doing things. We will not stick to the traditional way of doing things and miss out. There are even products that we haven't even touched that are doing so well on the market. And I'm talking about a product like cannabis, which is doing well. Other people have taken advantage of it and raking in millions of dollars. We are going to look at all of these products. We need to diversify, and we need to use technology to help us to achieve what we set out to achieve. So we are not going to, review it. I don't think so. I cannot speak for the ministry, but I can say that in my own little, we are not going to review it. And hopefully, it won't be reviewed. We will try and catch up and close the gap somehow. Thank you. My deputy was just mentioning cassava. Cassava powder is now a big deal in the Asian markets and other markets. It is being used for pharmaceuticals. We haven't even looked at it properly in the past. Now it is something that we are doing. And so all these new products that we are seriously working on, we hope will support what we are doing to get to the targets that we said we would.
That's Dr. Efua-Asare, the Chief Executive of the Ghana Export Promotion Authority. Now, moving on to the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, they believe the country is ready to, have more foreign direct investment amid COVID-19. According to its Chief Executive, Yofi Grant, Ghana has positioned itself as the spearhead of African economic and financial emancipation. He said the Ghana Investment Promotion Center is collectively working with the local private sector and foreign investors to, ensure economic growth. Take a listen to him.
Yes, definitely. And as you noticed during the presentation, I gave a breakdown of where Belgian and Luxembourg companies have already invested. Those that are here already are probably our best ambassadors to those who want to come in. But the opportunity, without doubt, is glaringly open and attractive. The Ghana proposition is without parallel, in my estimation. I think that Ghana is ready as a country. We still are proud of our political stability. We are proud of the opportunities that we have, and we are proud of the fact that we've achieved some significant growth in the past couple of years, and that is a good example for the continent. And Ghana, being the headquarters of the AFCFTA, definitely has positioned itself as the spearhead of African economic and financial emancipation, as well as industrialization. In fact, more industrialization to bring about opening up the African economy and move away from aid and handouts and gifts from more developed countries into using our own energies to develop our country and our continent, which is very possible. The continent is resource rich. It has the market. And therefore, I mean, there is no reason why we ourselves cannot build our continent and make it a place where it's more attractive to international trade. For most of our outreach programs that we do, we take along the private sector. In fact, as we speak right now, there is a delegation in Guyana made up of private sector people and the Vice President looking at possible collaboration and opportunities and partnerships. As I did say in my presentation, for us as a country, the two most dominant and probably inspirational of the SDGs is SDG 1 and SDG 17. SDG 1 is poverty eradication and SDG 17 is about partnerships and linkages. And we do recognize that that is probably the best way to take advantage of the resources we have and the plans that we have to develop. By working with foreign direct investors, indigenous directors, and the private sector at large. And indeed, that is motivated as setting up a PPP law so that those who are comfortable beyond private sector to work with government can enter into PPP agreements. But by and large, it's the private sector that really creates jobs. It's the private sector that pushes for economic growth. And so government's view is to put as much emphasis and give as much support to the private sector. And the recent Youth Start, for example, is one where there's going to be massive effort in getting young people to go into entrepreneurship and build their businesses.
You're still watching The Marketplace. The Association of Ghana Industries has observed that even though government continues to make strides in improving the business climate for the growth of local industry, women participation in the sector continue to lag. But what remains the cause and how can this be addressed? Currently, the women leadership of the AGI are devising strategies to explore finance channels and market access for growth. And of course, here to discuss, Anita Wiafi-Esino, the Chief Executive of OML Africa, as well as Maureen Irikwa Odoi, the co-founder and Chief Executive Director, actually, of the Aurora Business Network. Ladies, grateful that you could join us. I want to start with you, Anita. What's the state of women participation in business as we speak today in Ghana?
Well, it's not great. Throughout the COVID-19, the women businesses have been the most impacted because a lot of the industries that were affected were industries where a lot of women participate in terms of in business. So that's the first thing. So it's not great. It's not great. It's not great for us at all. The last 2 years, I'm sure many other business owners and leaders would agree with me, has been very challenging for us as women in business in the country. To just speak to the point you made about strides have been made, but it doesn't seem to be, impacting in any way. Just wanted to add that, yes, that is absolutely so. And that's because there isn't really a focused strategy to actually address the needs of women in business in the country. And that's a big problem, considering the fact that we are quite a large number if you are looking at ratio in terms of businesses in the country. Yeah.
But speaking of strategies, of course, the AGI Women Caucus, you're devising ways to explore finance channels and market access for growth. How can this be achieved, Anita?
Well, this can be achieved, first of all, when we all come, all stakeholders come together to look at the specific issues that are affecting women from growth, from sustainability. At the moment, there are donors and funders who are doing various activities. I'm sure you cover quite a number of initiatives that are launched, by various stakeholders. But they're disjointed. That's the fact of the matter. They're disjointed, and we need to come together so that the opportunities and the resources that are available are distributed fairly and equally to women who are in business that are sustainable, that can create jobs.
Great. Let me bring in Maureen, because you often engage with policymakers on matters regarding women participation. What particular framework, Maureen, should exist to ensure a balanced participation of women in industry? If you could kindly unmute so we could hear you, Maureen.
you very much, and good afternoon to your listeners. Thank you so much. As you rightly said, the various frameworks, but from AGI Women in Business and with AGI, we are looking at a special fund that should be set aside to address the issues of women when it comes to access to finance. And that's the kind of framework we'd like to engage stakeholders on during our second anniversary celebration under the theme Women-Led Businesses, Exploring Finance Channels in Market Access for Growth. So basically bringing together stakeholders. We have very high-level resource persons who are going to talk about some of the opportunities available and how we can work together with them to make sure that access to finance is something that women can really, really access to grow their businesses and to make sure they're creating the jobs needed for our young people.
To what extent can Ghana miss out on the continental free trade, of course, if this issue of women disparity is not tackled?
Well, we need to look at the fact that it's a big opportunity. The FCFTA is a great opportunity when it comes to access to markets, and that's why it's one of the pillars of the theme that we are going to be talking about tomorrow at our second anniversary. The three areas: partnership, attractiveness of women businesses, and being investor ready. If our women businesses are not attractive to funders, to financiers, to private equity firms, to banks, they are going to miss out because they cannot scale. And since the marketplace is about scale and competitiveness, we have to be ready, and that brings in the investment readiness. As of now, there's no guide anywhere that seeks to suggest that women, if you are looking for how to be investor ready, this is a guide. You will have to do research and go across several organizations to get what they really want before you even start planning. So these three key areas are important, that women are investor ready. How do they become investor ready? They have to be given opportunity in terms of training, capacity building, preparation, advocacy, linkages. And that is what the AGI Women in Business stands for. We seek to bring a lot of women together. And as we grow as women in business through peer learning, workshops and training, we become investor ready through some of the opportunities given us through AGI Women in Business. And then we form the partnerships with banks, which we are doing with insurance firms like the Enterprise Life Group, with EcoBank, with AXA. We want to create those partnerships so we can get the needed education and preparedness for this opportunity. So that when the AFCFTA is bringing up opportunities, women will also take part of that market.
And we'll see how that turns out. We're grateful that you could join us with your analysis and concern regarding women disparity issues in the world of business. Anita Wiafi Asino is Chief Executive of OML Africa, as well as Maureen Erekwa Odoe, the co-founder and Executive Director of the Aurora Business Network. Ladies, grateful that you could join me once again. Thank you very much. Well, still to come in the bulletin, as the festive season beckons, Food and Beverage Association intensifies surveillance to weed out unscrupulous agents infiltrating retail markets with unwholesome goods. We have the Executive Secretary join us in studio for more on this. Do stay with us. You're welcome. Now, it's the month of December and the festive season has got shelves of shopping malls and markets restocked for the holiday season. But there are concerns over the possible influx of unwholesome products to the market as the Food and Beverage Association ramps up surveillance together with the Food and Drugs Authority to stem any such situation. The Executive Director of the association, Samuel Agri, joins me in studio for a discussion on this. You know, it's a perennial thing. Each and every year we're expecting, shelves to be restocked, but the concern about the infiltration of unwholesome products still remains. How much of this has, been much of a challenge for the association?
Let me say that with so far what we have on the market, we've been able to at least police, or let me use that word, to police a lot of things that are coming in with the conjunction with the FDA.
All right. To
ensure that those who are bringing in unscrupulous imports are really dealt with, and then to ensure that the association members also, with what they are coming in with, for the Yuletide, and then also for what has already come into the system are really safe and wholesome for consumption.
But of course, we've seen global supply chains being disrupted. The United States is having issues regarding the stocking of most of these shelves. Are we having a similar playback in Ghana?
In Ghana, yeah, let me say that we've had our in and outs, and fortunately, some of the local products, our local manufacturers have stepped in to also do what they can. The product that they can produce as compared to the imported product, if they can, has really gone up to ensure that we don't have any gap in there. But then if you look at with the COVID inception, and then the supermarkets as we have, we don't have that large demands as opposed to Europe, because we have alternate ways of consumption. So therefore, if you find something and you don't find it on the shelf, perhaps you could go to the market and then look for the fresh vegetables and other things that you can deal with. So the impact itself with shopping has not been too much felt as what we are experiencing in Europe. Unfortunately, most of the product that we import also has to do with coming in from the European markets and also from other countries. And therefore, if there's a challenge there, of course, Ghana will also be suffering that impact. So as the Christmas is coming, most of them have already done their Christmas orders. And fortunately, some are coming in, some of them too, unfortunately, will arrive when the Christmas season is over, because looking at the import terrain in terms of cargo shipment and all that, with the cost that has gone up. So most of them couldn't...
the freight charges and
all that, so most of them couldn't actually meet the Yuletide.
Great. But you know, one aspect of safety, you know, for us, the aspect of us being able to verify this, the safety of products is through the tax stamp measures, the excise tax stamps on the products of these bottled, drinking water and the beverages in that nature. What's the update with that, especially when Christmas is coming and production is going to definitely ramp up?
As for, if you talk about tax stamp, obviously, wouldn't say that that should have more impact on our Christmas this thing. But unfortunately, the challenge that we have are those that are bringing in through our porous borders. But the surveillance is there. Those who are bringing in product that already being imported and being manufactured locally will not have the field day, because if you bring in those products, especially the exercisable products, you might not find a way of putting it onto the market, because the very moment you put in the GRA is also there to pick up those products for destruction. And ourselves, when we find it, we will alert the GRA for them to do the proper thing, because if you look at what is happening within the country, even though we are not for 100% for the tax stamp as it is now, we cannot also say that imports should come in without going through the fixation. But fortunately, if you happen to bring in your products without stamping them, the facilities at Tema ports are available. You can go there and get them done with your import document and all that, so that you can also put your product on the market for sale. All right,
so let's now end with cost, because people are going to the Christmas season with virtually empty pockets, you know. Some weeks ago, you predicted that the cost of, food and beverage could skyrocket should the benchmark value be scraped off. It's now been taken off. So where do we stand as we speak relating to costs?
As for that, I will still plead with authorities that this is not a time for us to think of imposing this 50% benchmark value, because automatically...
But it's been approved currently, so what's going to be the state
what will happen is that we, the importers and traders alike, will then have to activate our second strategy as to what we're going to do to ensure that this thing don't have real effect on the consumer. Because what they have done, if your import is seen already, and you are selling, you wouldn't have the impact. But then what it means is that you will then have to go back and recost your products and then accommodate the percentages that will come in your next import so that you don't make any losses. But this will have a real impact on the consuming public because...
and when are we going to be facing the impact of this? The beginning of next year or the beginning of the Yuletide?
Yeah, it has to take immediate effect.
Okay.
You see, so products and services may have to go up by 25%. And you and I know that our salaries are not there to meet that cost of increase. So therefore, if government itself does not think of the people and then you still want to go and take the money that you want to make because of that, the benchmark value must come. Then obviously, we are going to face the challenges of high increases of prices.
So, yeah, we're going to see how that one turns out. Unfortunately, we're run out of time, but we're grateful that you could have this engagement with us. We shall engage you further on matters regarding food and beverage and the cost element, especially when the Christmas is headed. Samuel Agri is Executive Director of the Food and Beverage Association, helping us understand matters at the shelves of several malls and markets ahead of Christmas. And that's how we also end this edition of The Marketplace. I'm Charles Aite. For more news, please log on to myjoyonline.com. Many thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of our programs.